Dude, I'm gonna leave.
Good morning. This is the Clayton County State Court, Courtroom 304. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward. This is the jail case and probation calendar for October 4th of 2022. I'm going to call the calendar, and when I call the calendar, I'll expect to hear an announcement from counsel. If the individual does not have an attorney, then once the attorneys go into the breakout room, they can ask if he needs counsel, he or she needs counsel. First on the calendar, no attorney listed, Ashley Bailey. Ashley Bailey.
Yes, Your Honor. Lister Holton Dennis is representing Miss Bailey. If I could pretrial with the state on this matter.
All right. Right. Next is Justin Bryant. Thank you, Ms. Val, for getting this on the calendar. Justin Bryant, I got a email from the jail that they wanted to release Mr. Bryant because of jail conditions. So I wanted to get him put on the calendar just so that we could take care of his case. He's with Lister Holton Dennis.
Yes, Your Honor. And while we very much appreciate the jail's discretion and willingness to release Mr. Bryant, the fact is that he just has nowhere to go. I have conference with his family and they're not willing to take him in. So I'm now in the process of coordinating with the Clayton Center for having him assessed for housing through them.
Your Honor, we believe he has mental health issues. This incident occurred at a mental health facility.
Okay. Ooh, so we're stuck in that hard place again where we have somebody who needs help but can't get them help. All right, so what are they saying at the Clayton Center regarding housing, Mr. Taylor? They're giving you a timeline at all?
I haven't received an affirmative yet. As I understand, it takes a few days for them to get in there and assess him. It's kind of a long process of actually getting him placement, as I understand.
All right. The next person on the calendar is Adrian Ford. Adrian Ford, I do not see counsel listed for Mr. Ford.
We'll ask him when we go back, Your Honor.
Okay, this may be his first time on the calendar also. Delmar Hernandez. Delmar Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll need to conference with this client, and if we could have the interpreter in the room as well.
Do we have Ms. Tolles or Mrs. Bermudez? Okay, as soon as one of them comes, we'll get them into the breakout room.
And Mr. Taylor, we need to make certain that you have the most recent recommendation on Mr. Hernandez prior to conference.
Could you go ahead and send me a second set of discovery? Because I have it for the first on the calendar, but not the assault.
All right, next on the calendar is Jawan Hutchinson, Lister Holton Dennis.
I attempted to have a visit with this client, Your Honor, but we'll need a conference.
Samantha Johnson.
Your Honor, I need to speak to the state to clarify the recommendations before I speak to Mr. Johnson.
All right, London Alfred Kelly.
No, I believe this client is OTB. And we just confirm.
This offender was OTB on September 28th.
All right, thank you. Regina Winfrey.
Your Honor, that is stipulate and agree. It's a probation violation.
Justin Worsham.
Your Honor, I believe Worsham is OTB as well.
That's correct, Judge. He was OTB on September 30th.
All right. All right, so I'm going to set up the breakout rooms. First, I'll set up the breakout rooms with Mr. Brooks and Ms. Janvier so that you all can get whatever recommendations and information you need. And then I'll allow you to go into the breakout rooms with the jail.
Did you already call Alicia, Pluckett, Judge?
I didn't see a Pluckett. Is that on another calendar or did I not go far enough?
I'll send you, it's just an extra reading calendar. Is she present?
Pluckett?
Oh, yes.
Okay, hold on just a second, ma'am. She's gonna send that to me. Oh, Ms. Tolles, in a moment, I'm gonna put you in the breakout room with the jail. But first, the attorneys need to speak with the state. So as soon as they come out of the breakout room with the state, I'll put you in with the jail with them.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, all the attorneys are in breakout room number 1. All right, is iPhone, is this you, Ms. Pluckett?
Yes, it's Plunkett with an N.
Okay, spell your name for me, your whole name, so I can change it on the screen. 1 second, okay? All right, go ahead for me. First name first.
Alicia. Last name Plunkett.
All right, let me know if this is correct.
Okay.
All righty. Ms. Plunkett, hold on just a second and let me get yours. All right, Ms. Plunkett is with the law firm of Lister Holton Dennis, or her attorneys with the law firm of Lister Holton Dennis. And this is a simple battery, family violence, simple battery, and criminal trespass. Ms. Plunkett, as soon as your attorney comes out of the breakout room with the other attorneys for the state, then we'll go ahead and get some information for you, okay?
Alrighty.
Thank you. You can go ahead and mute until we need to speak with you. That way we don't hear what's going on in your background, all right? All right. Quinasia Huntington, are you here on as a witness for one of these cases?
Your Honor, she's the victim on the case, one of the cases.
Okay. All right, Ms. Huntington, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dillard. I'll be back as soon as the attorneys. Mr. Taylor, Mr. Kamani, you have announcements or you need to go into the breakout room for the jail?
Your
Yes,
Honor,
Your Honor, we need to go to the jail.
Okay. Also, whoever is representing Ms. Plunkett, she is here also.
Yes, I am representing her. I will give her a call in just a minute.
All right. So Ms. Plunkett, Mr. Taylor's going to call you. Just make sure your device is muted.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to put Ms. Tolles, the jail, and the defense attorneys in the breakout room number 2. All right.
Your Honor, I have an announcement.
Go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Hernandez will be entering a not guilty plea in both cases.
All right.
And I assume Your Honor is appointing us on the second case. I don't think we're on it yet.
Yes, just send me the appointment order. All right, and is that the only person who's going to need Miss Tolles?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Tolles, at this time you're excused. And does Mr. 1 second, Ms. Tolles, Mr. Taylor? Where'd he go?
I think he may have gone back to his breakout room with the other defense
right, ma'am.
counsel.
Then you're excused at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too.
Your Honor, I have an announcement.
Yes, Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Plunkett would like to enter a negotiated guilty plea to count one only.
All right. Raise your right hand, Ms. Plunkett. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
You can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2020 CR 07097. You're represented by Lister Holton Dennis. Mr. Taylor is with you here on the call. And you're entering a plea of guilty to simple battery, family violence, count 1, count 2, simple battery, and count 3, criminal trespass. Will those merge or be null pros, Ms. Janvier?
Count 2 will merge and count 3 will be no pros.
All right. By entering the plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Ms. Plunkett, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes.
Factual basis and recommendation, please, Ms. Janvier.
Yes, Your Honor. On April 27, 2020, an officer was dispatched by the victim. The victim advised that Ms. Plunkett had spat on him. Once the officer spoke with Ms. Plunkett, she stated that she admitted that she did spit in the victim's face. That concludes the facts. The state's recommendation is 12 months of probation, 40 hours of community service, $300 fine, no contact with the victim, and anger management.
Okay, and what's the victim's name?
The victim, Cosby Phillips, Cosby is the first name, and Phillips, Phillips.
All right. Mr. Taylor, anything on behalf of Ms. Plunkett?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Plunkett, who's Mr. Phillips?
He was my friend's boyfriend.
All right. Do you have any reason to see Mr. Phillips at all?
No.
Okay. All right. So, ma'am, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to count 1. Count 2 will merge. Count 3 will be no pros. I'll sentence you to 12 months probation to pay a fine in the amount of a fine in the amount of $300, which is going to be $444 with the surcharges. You'll do 40 hours of community service, and you'll take an anger management class and have no contact with Cosby Phillips. If you have contact with Cosby Phillips, then you're subject to having your probation revoked, and you'll spend the remainder of the time in jail. You're also subject to being charged with additional misdemeanors or a felony. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If Mr. Phillips has contact with you, reaches out to you in any way, you can keep a record of it and share that with your attorney, but do not have any contact with Mr. Phillips. Okay. All right, so ma'am, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. She's going to explain everything that you need to know about probation. Once you're finished speaking with Mrs. Thomas, you do not need to come back to the main room unless you have questions for me or for your attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so once you speak with Mrs. Thomas, please make sure that you do what's necessary to successfully complete probation. The quickest way to get rearrested is to not appear for your probation reports, okay?
Yes.
All right, 1 second. I'm going to put you in the breakout room number 6. All right, Mr. Taylor, did you have anything else at this time?
No, Your Honor, I have a couple more people at the jail.
All right, okay, she's in. All right, so I'm gonna, you can go back into the breakout room for the jail, and when you have announcements, just come back out. Yes, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jawan Hutchinson will be entering a not guilty plea.
Okay.
And I just need is Mr. Brooks in the room? Or Mrs. Janvier?
Ms. Janvier is here.
Yes, I just still need the report and recommendation for Adrian Ford. He did request our service.
Okay, I think she just sent it, so you should have it momentarily.
Oh, thanks. Your Honor, I have an announcement.
Go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Ford would like to enter a negotiated guilty plea to counts 1, 5, and 6.
Okay. Do you have any other announcements?
I believe that's the last of my people for today.
Bailey?
Oh, yes, Ms. Bailey will be entering a negotiated guilty plea to counts 1 and 3. Or
Johnson, Your Honor, Johnson is going to be a guilty plea to criminal trespass.
All right. And Stippen agreed for Winfrey.
That's right.
All right, Bailey? For the jail, Bailey, please.
Your Honor, I do have a question. Miss Regina Winfrey,
Yes.
she wasn't spoken to? What did the attorneys?
He spoke to her earlier. She's on the calendar, and when we call her up, we're gonna do hers.
Oh, okay. I just want to
Yeah,
make.
she came to her jail visit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No problem. All right, Miss Bailey, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
You can put your hand down. You're before the court for count 1, leaving the scene. Count 2, no license, and count 3, improper lane change. This is on case 2022CR04933. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. You're represented by Attorney Taylor. He's here with you on the call. By entering a plea of guilty to counts 1 and count 3, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Ms. Bailey, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things? All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 16, 2022, an officer was dispatched to a hit and run on Terra Boulevard and Upper Riverdale Road. The vehicle that stayed advised that vehicle 1, which was driven by Ms. Bailey, changed lanes and struck her vehicle near the left rear side. At that time, Ms. Bailey did stop at the red light, and when the light changed, she left the scene. The victim was able to take a clear picture of the license plates, which allowed the officer to conduct a follow-up investigation to the address for the vehicle. The owner of the vehicle stated that they were not the person driving and advised Ms. Bailey was. Ms. Bailey did admit to driving and striking Ms. Smith's car and leaving the scene. Recommendations for count 1, the state is recommending 12 months to serve 10 days. The balance will be probated. A defensive driving course, $300 fine. And this will, the probation will conclude once that's been completed. So terminate on completion. Count.
Is there any restitution?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, continue. Count 3.
Count 2 and 3, the time to serve 10 days is concurrent, but for count 3, there's a $200 fine for the improper lane change.
All right. Mr. Taylor?
nothing further, Your Honor. We just ask
All
that
right.
the court follow the recommendation of the parties.
All right, Miss Bailey, are you working?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so Miss Bailey, you'll have 12 months in order to pay the fines and fees. It's going to be pretty hefty, so you got to make sure that you pay it. If you want to pay it a little bit at a time, it may take you a long time, but you can pay it over time. But the quicker you pay the fines and fees and take the driver improvement course, the quicker your probation will terminate. Now, you have to go to your probation reports. The quickest way to get rearrested is to miss your probation reports. Do you understand? Even if you haven't done the rest of the stuff, if you miss a probation report, that's going to get you arrested. You understand? All right. So I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to counts 1, 2, and 3. Count 1 is 12 months to serve 10 days. Credit for time served, balance probated, so that you can take a driver improvement course and pay a fine in the amount of $300. The $300 fine is going to be $444 with the surcharges. Count 2 is 10 days credit for time served to run concurrent with count 1. Count 3 also 10 days credit for time served and balance probated to pay a fine in the amount of $200. That will run concurrent with count 1. So, ma'am, you'll have 12 months minus the 10 days on probation to pay a fine in the amount of $300. That's going to be $444. And also another fine in the amount of $200. That's going to be $298. And to take a driver improvement course. Now, for the driver improvement course, don't get fancy and just start Googling things. What I want you to do is to go online to the Department of Driver Services, the Georgia Department of Driver Services, where you would get your license. When you go to that website for the Georgia Department of Driver Services, there'll be a menu for driver improvement courses. And when you click on the pull down menu, they'll give you courses that are close to you, that are near where you need to be to take the course, and also depending on the price for the course. So they'll have that information on the Department of Driver website. The reason I ask you to do that is because they give us the form that we will accept. Any other course that you just Google may not give us what we need, and you may end up spending more money and taking another course. Do you understand? All right. Did you have any questions for me?
So I'm on probation for a year?
You're on probation until you take the driver improvement course and pay both of those fines and the fees. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The maximum is 12 months minus 10 days, but you can shorten that by doing what you need to do earlier than that. Okay?
Okay.
So the first thing you need to do when you get out is look for a job. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you're going to need some way to pay for this. Is there anything that I should know about that keeps you from working?
No.
Okay, then there's jobs out there. I see announcements all the time. So you need to get out there and get a job so you can get this taken care of. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas is going to explain everything you need to know about probation. Ask her any questions that you think you might have regarding your probation so you can successfully complete it. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Once Mrs. Thomas is done, then we'll continue with the jail cases. And Miss Bailey, you can go back with the jail once you're finished speaking with Mrs. Thomas. All right. Okay, the jail is in breakout room number 6.
coming back from the breakout room, Your Honor.
Thank you. Just waiting for the jail. Adrian Ford.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Ford, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Ford, you're before the court on count 1, DUI, count 2, DUI less safe, count 3, refusal of chemical test, count 4, interference with government property, count 5, too fast for conditions, and count 6, improper lane change. This is case 2022 CR 05011. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt and Dennis. Mr. Taylor is your attorney. Mr. Ford, by entering a plea of guilty to counts 1, 5, and 6, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 15th, 2020, an officer was on Hastings Ridge Road in Cleve Court, where he observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. Estimated the speed was approximately 60 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. The officer also observed the car crossing over the double yellow line. Once the car was stopped, did notice that the driver, Mr. Ford, had a strong odor of alcoholic beverage. He had bloodshot eyes, watery eyes, slurred speech. Mr. Ford did admit to drinking and admitted to speeding. Okay. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 90 days, balance probated, credit for time served, DUI risk reduction program, no drugs or alcohol, random screening and testing, 45 days of community service, substance abuse evaluation, $600 fine. The less safe merge, the count 3, the refusal with no pros. The interference with government property also is a no pros. The too fast, speed 60 and a 35 was $125 fine. Improper lane change, $50 suspended.
All right, Mr. Taylor, anything on behalf of Mr. Ford?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
So I have 12 months to serve 90 days, credit for time served, balance probated, to take a substance abuse evaluation, any treatment that may be ordered, a risk reduction course. I have 45 days of community service, no alcohol or illicit drugs, and subject to random screens for alcohol or illicit drugs, and a fine in the amount of $600 with surcharges, plus surcharges. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then count 5, $125 fine. Count 6, a $50 fine suspended to run concurrent with count 1. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So,
Miss, I have a question for you before you leave though, please. I'm sorry.
sure. Go ahead, sir.
I had court yesterday for another charge that I'm not here for. And I was just trying to, my mother had tried to contact the court. She was just trying to make sure someone know that I've been incarcerated since September 12th. So I didn't know if anyone know that I was here or anything. I had court for something else October 3rd yesterday.
Okay. I'm not sure what you're saying.
I had a court case yesterday and I've been incarcerated. So we're just trying to make sure I don't get I guess a failure to appear or something like that.
Yes, Your Honor. It looks like he had a felony terroristic threats charge up in Judge.
I think this was my judge.
No, sir.
No,
If-
this was in
if the-
Superior Court.
Yeah, if you have a felony, I'm not that judge. I'm the
Okay.
misdemeanor judge. So did you get a bond?
Yeah, I've been out on bond. This case has been going on since last year, October.
So you were out on bond on my case. You got arrested on the felony, correct?
I don't.
Is that correct, Mr. Taylor? Or did he have an FTA for me?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe he was arrested on this case. Or, no, he was arrested on the new case.
Okay, so Mr. Ford, what happened was you got arrested on the new case, but
Yes.
since you were here, you came up on my case.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure.
Okay, I got you. So I just want to explain. So my case is taken care of. I've imposed my order, but if you don't have a bond on the terroristic threats case, then you'll stay in jail until you see the Superior Court judge, okay?
Your Honor,
Yes?
it appears that he may have a new DUI from September the 15th.
Yes, that's why I'm here. I'm here for a DUI, but I'm just.
Yeah,
trying-
but you're not here for a new DUI, meaning the DUI you're here for is, I can tell you when it's from, or at least what year. It's
No,
from 2022. Oh, maybe that is it.
Yes,
Is
yes,
this-
I'm here for the DUI that I just got on September 12th. That's why.
Is there another one?
No.
Okay,
He
so
has an
hold
older
on.
case out of Henry County.
No, he had a violation of, hold on, let's see.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to just make sure when you leave here, we are all clear on what
Yes,
you're here
I'm
for.
here for September 12th. That's why I'm
Okay,
here.
Okay, so
Mr.
October 3rd is his trial date in Superior Court. Looks like it is in front of Judge Carter.
Yeah, that was
okay.
yesterday.
So you went before Judge Carter?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell someone. I wanted them to know that I'm incarcerated. I didn't go to court yesterday.
You did not?
No,
Okay.
we were trying to notify the court.
They should be able to see the same thing that we see in the DA's office. They should be
Yeah,
able to.
so here's the thing. Misdemeanor court and state court and Superior Court, totally separate. They have two different clerks, but the fact that you're on a jail calendar, that should tickle something on their calendar as well as ours. So
Okay,
you
that's all
came
we-
up, right, because
that's all
there was
we-
a case pending.
That's all.
But you should always, but see, I can't tell you when Judge Carter is gonna have her jail cases. Okay,
But I was out on that case, so like I've been free on that case. I'm fighting that case to go to trial. So
okay, all right.
So
So if you had, I'm not sure what'll happen now, but I've given you the sentence that I've given you. And so let me understand, I have credit, 90 days credit for time served, and he's done 90 days?
no.
Ms.
believe
John
he's been
Vier?
in since
No, Your Honor, we
September.
have him in as of September the 16th.
Okay, so y'all giving him credit for 90 days?
No, Your Honor, for whatever time he's been in from the
Oh, so that's
16th.
credit since the date of lockup.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Miss Brenda, credit since lockup, 12 months, 90 days, credit since lockup, balance probated for substance abuse evaluation, risk reduction course, 45 days of community service, no alcohol or illicit drugs during the course of his probation, a $600 fine plus surcharges, and you're subject to random screens for alcohol and drugs. So, sir, it's going to be pretty expensive. Let me just tell you what's going on with our case, just so when you leave here, you'll be clear. So you're going to have like a $52, $54 a month supervision fee for probation. Then you also have to take a substance abuse evaluation and any treatment, each of those costs, and a risk reduction course that costs $600 fine plus surcharges means it's going to be more like $800. Then the $125 fine is going to be in the $200 range. So you'll have all of those fines and fees to pay and classes to take over the course of the 12 months. Once you have served, well, it'll be the course of the 9 months once you have served the 90 days in jail. So this has nothing to do with your felony case, but I just want you to be clear. So whenever you get out, this is still waiting, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas is going to explain everything you need to know about probation and what you do when you get out, okay? So the jail, yes, sir?
Okay, so I'm just trying to let my mom, who she needs to contact. You said she needs to contact the court, so I want to make sure what's going on with the other case that I missed yesterday since I was in jail. Who do I contact for that?
Okay, hold on. Do you have a lawyer for that case? Were
Yes.
you assigned? Okay, then she needs to contact that person.
Okay, and I don't know who that is. I don't know her name.
And if you
Oh,
were
Willie Day. Okay, I'm sorry. I got it.
okay, because if you were assigned a lawyer, then that's going to be the public defender's office for Clayton County.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. All right, now you're gonna go into a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas, and once the jail comes out of the breakout room, we'll continue with the next case.
Thank you.
Breakout room number 6. Thank you.
from the breakout room, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas.
Sure.
All right. Johnson, please.
Johnson, Daniel Johnson here. Johnson.
Judge Hayward,
Yes.
are we scheduling Justin Bryant on another jail calendar recently?
Yeah, Mr. Taylor, how long do you think it's going to take for us to secure Mr. Bryant's housing?
You can come through here, go upstairs to the second floor.
I'm honestly not exactly familiar with the process to where I could give like a day estimation, but I think in a week we should have like a update.
Okay, so Ms. Val, continue it for 2 weeks. And that way, if anything happens in the interim, I can get an order out. But otherwise, we won't put it on the next calendar. We'll put it on the calendar after that. Okay.
Okay, 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right. Is it Samantha? Samantha Johnson. So Mr. Johnson, you're before the court on 2022 CR 05102 for criminal trespass. You're represented by attorney Kamani, who is here on behalf of the law firm of Lister, Holt and Dennis. So sir, my understanding is that you intend to enter a plea of guilty to criminal trespass. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. By entering a plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 27th, 2022, an officer did respond to 6748 Black Twig Court in Clayton County in reference to a domestic disturbance. Mr. Johnson, on the scene, Mr. Johnson advised that he was asked to leave by the victim to leave the residence, but he returned to get his belongings. During the course of that return, he snatched her iPhone and threw it to the ground, breaking it. Mr. Johnson did admit that he did break the iPhone, and that would conclude the facts, Your Honor. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 6 days. The balance would be probated, 40 hours of community service, anger management, stay away from the victim, no contact with the victim, and restitution in the amount of $500.
Okay, what's the victim's name again?
The victim's name is Quenisha LaShawn Huntington. Quenisha is Queenisha. The last name Huntington.
Okay, Quenisha LaShawn Huntington. All right, so Mr. Johnson, how do you know Miss Huntington?
We got kids together.
All right, so were you married when the kids were born?
We're about to get married.
No, listen to my question, sir. Have you ever been married to Miss Huntington?
No.
Did you go to Superior Court to get your children legitimized with Miss Huntington?
No.
Okay, all right. So, you're sentenced to 12 months to serve 6 days. Balance will be probated so you can do 40 hours of community service and take an anger management class. And you're to have no contact with Miss Quinasia Huntington. That means that you can't contact her at all unless it's through the courts. I guess to see your children. If you want to see them, you have to contact her through the courts, through Superior Court, where they set up visitation and they allow you to see your children. If you contact Miss Huntington, you could be rearrested and serve the remainder of your sentence in jail, or you could be charged with additional misdemeanors or felonies, or all of that could happen. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If she contacts you, you're not to respond. The only thing that can change that is if I change my order to allow contact, or if another judge from Superior Court allows you all to have contact in the course of deciding your visitation, custody, legitimacy, all of those. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So understand, Mr. Johnson and Miss Huntington, if you have contact with Miss Huntington, it is not going to affect Miss Huntington, but it will affect you, and you could end up back in jail. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can pay child support, but you need to do it through child support enforcement. All right. How many children do you have with Miss Huntington?
1.
I'm sorry?
1.
Okay. So other thing, Mr. Johnson, is you and Miss Huntington have had an issue where you have ended up in jail. I'm not sure y'all rushing to get married is the best thing for both of y'all. I don't know why people think getting married is the cure for foolishness, but if y'all can't get along and you're not married, marriage don't make that any easier. We're clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Huntington, do you hear what I'm saying? Can I see you, please? Miss Huntington,
Yes.
can I see you?
I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay, click on what looks like an old-fashioned video camera.
I don't see that.
Okay, touch next to your name on your device. Do you see 3 dots inside a blue box? Miss Huntington?
Oh, I think I found it.
Okay. There you are. So Miss Huntington, Mr. Johnson has an order from me that he's to have no contact with you. So if you contact him, that's going to get him in trouble. If he contacts you, that's going to get him in trouble. And let me just say that I can't tell you what to do, but I don't know that him ending up in jail for breaking your property and y'all getting into it is the best foundation for a marriage.
Right.
I mean, I'm married, and I'm gonna just tell you, marriage don't fix stuff like this.
Okay.
So just getting married is not the fix for what y'all got going on. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Mr. Johnson, the $500 fine is going to be $737.50. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas is going to explain everything you need to know about probation. Ask her any questions that might be specific to your situation. But please remember what I said about not having contact with Miss Huntington, except for you can pay your child support through child support enforcement, because anything that you have contact with her about before my order expires, you could end up back in jail. We clear?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How long is this order?
12 months minus 6 days.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
He's already served 6 days, so will he be
Oh,
receiving
12
pay?
months minus 6 days, the remainder of the 12 months minus the 6 days you already served. Credit for time served. All right, so I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with Mrs. Thomas. The jail can go into breakout room number 6.
We can't hear it. Can't hear words. I'm back from the breakout room, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. All right, Mr. Kamani, is Regina Winfrey your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Winfrey. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court for State of Georgia versus Regina Annette Winfrey, 2022 CR 01318. You were before this court for criminal trespass on the 26th day of April in 2022. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation. Your sentence was told because we lost track of you. You have 9 months and 12 days remaining on probation. You failed to report on May 9th, May 10th, and within 10 days of May 12th, 2022, and on June 15th of 2022. You last reported on May 10th by phone. You failed to comply with random tests. You were subject to random screens on May 9th, May 10th of 2022, June 15th of 2022. You failed to document proof of completing an alcohol and drug evaluation, and you failed to pay. You're represented by Mr. Kamani. Mr. Kamani, is my understanding that you wish to stipulate to the technicals in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Austin, what does the probation office recommend in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. It is 30 days to serve and close the case out. Credit since the day of lockup, which is September 28th.
Okay. Ms. Winfrey, what's been going on?
Well, I want to apologize, but I was going through a moving situation due to the fact that I had moved from the Riverdale location where the incident occurred at. And between that time, I was stabbed and just gathering everything together now. So I'm pretty much together. Actually, I moved them in a new location, which is down the street from the probation office. Currently got a job. So I'm back on track. That's all I can say right now pertaining to the case.
Okay.
And another thing I wanted to ask, the 42 days is not accounted for that I already previously served. No.
I'm sorry?
The 42 days that I had already previously served when being locked up since August the 18th.
You were locked up August the 18th of this year on this probation revocation?
Well, I guess it's not pertaining to this right here. So yeah, I was incarcerated since August the 18th. So I guess what I'm saying is the 30 days, that's not a credit towards that.
It depends on what your attorney and Mr. Austin worked out.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking the question.
That's no problem.
Okay.
Mr. Kamani, Mr. Austin?
Oh, probation has no problem with that, Your Honor. Her receiving credit on the time she's already served previously, prior to this.
Mr. Kamani?
No objection, Your Honor. Right.
Okay, so I have defendant shall have 30 days revoked and shall receive credit since lockup. After service of 30 days, defendant's case shall be concluded and defendant shall be released. Any objections to that?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, so ma'am, you'll receive credit since lockup. I'm glad you got your life back together. Please try and keep it that way, okay?
Yes, ma'am. So that'll be accredited. So that's like time served then, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it looks like she may have holes from Fulton County.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that, Mr. Brooks. Miss Winfrey, that's just my case. That's all I can control. But if you have a hold from any other jurisdiction, or if you have a hold from Superior Court, they're going to take you today or whenever they come to get you to the next place.
A hold from where? I just came from Fulton County over to Clayton County.
Okay, all right. So now two things. Fulton County sometimes will send you here because they crowded or they're not going to get to you quickly. So they'll send you here first and then they'll maintain their hold. I don't know if that's what happened, but if you concluded what's going on in Fulton County, then the jail should be able to see it, and then this should be it for you, okay? But
Yes,
I can't
ma'am.
promise that because I don't have access to the jail's computer right now.
Yes, ma'am, I understand, because I just did, I was locked up. It was a bond forfeiture, if I'm not mistaken. When I'm not mistaken, there was a bond forfeiture. And I was locked up August the 18th.
Okay,
Forfeiture.
so, all right, so as long as there's no holds on you, that's all I can tell you, okay? You're done with my case as long as there's no holds on you, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Bailey, I hope everything works out. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And I got one guy.
All right, so everyone should be taken care of. Bailey can go back. That's a 2-week continuance. Otherwise, we should have addressed everybody else's case. Did you have anybody else that we haven't talked to?
Your Honor, let me check I think we do. I'm not sure. I believe we had Hutchinson.
Hutchinson is a not guilty.
Okay, you don't need to see him then.
No.
And Delmar Hernandez.
Hernandez is a not guilty also.
Okay, so that's our calendar.
Okay, something's going on with my computer trying to send back the Winfrey case. Let me see if I can send it to a shorter list of people. Hold on.
You all think about your house.
All right, if you all will share the order as necessary for Ms. Winfrey, then I'll send it back over.
Thank you.
All right, anything else at this time? All right, thank you all. I'll be signing, so send it over if you have it.
Oh, no.